Happy Friday. So what I was expecting and I talked about a couple of days and a couple of weeks ago actually took place and finally happened yesterday, because I'm talking about the GameStop stock split. Yes, the shareholders meeting took place yesterday and they all decided that they are willing to do a stock split. So for every single share that you are holding, if you hold GameStop stock, you're going to have receive an additional 2 shares on top of it. That's going to be your 3-to-1. So in terms of pricing, what that means is the share price that you're seeing now is going to be divided by 3. So it doesn't change a whole lot into the value of your position if you're holding shares of GameStop. But what I want to actually see here is what that event is going to have as an effect into AMC, because I suspect we're about to get paid. So you better have your checkbook ready, man. All right. A stock split, for those of you who are not aware of what is it or familiar with the theory or the technicality behind it, pretty much it's like, you have a pie, all right? Right now you have a pie divided into 4 people, divided into 4 pieces, because you are waiting to have 4 people that you invited, over for a party. Now, let's just say instead of 4 people, they come with each one, each plus 1, so that makes 8. You don't want to go ahead, outside and buy a whole new pie. Just divide what you have in 2. So everybody will receive 1 pie and will make, 8 pieces of the pie. So the pie is not changing. It's just you managing it for everybody to have a piece of the pie. Make sense? So it's going to be the exact same thing here. Now, what it means for people holding a stock like GameStop or AMC is usually a stock split will give the ability to enter into the stock at a very cheaper price. All right. So instead of buying GameStop at what, maybe $130 or $140 a piece, you're getting it for maybe 40 something and change. All right. So our mind usually will be more attracted to what is less expensive. Why? Because we think it's easier to be affordable. Just look at what happened with Tesla and Amazon. Amazon is going to have a 20-to-1, if I'm not mistaken. So the $2,000 stock price is going to go down to potentially a 1 or and some change. So for me, I'm looking at that. It makes more sense for me, or my brain is telling me, hey, man, you better get 100. It's easy for you to get at 100 than at 2,000, because 2,000, I have to bring a whole $2,000 to get just one single. But with the same 2,000, I can get, at $100, I can get a lot more of those. All right. So it attracts a lot more buying pressure, because it makes things more affordable for people who are loving the stock. All right. So that's number 1. Additional buying pressure coming from the price getting a lot more affordable. Number 2 is, with this specific stock split, we do have a dividend attached to it. All right. And the dividend attached to it means we need to pay everybody owning the shares. Guess what? With GameStop and AMC, we have more than real shares. Actually have even potentially more fake shares than the real shares. How did that happen? Well, don't ask me. Ask the short sellers and all the market makers who are doing whatever they want and can to pin the price below what it's supposed to trade by creating fake shares through fail to delivers, through the option chain, etc., etc. Everybody knows that, right? Now, you need to pay a dividend to the real shares only. So what happens? Everybody owning the real shares, or let me backtrack. Everybody willing to short the stock needs to borrow those shares, right? So the lenders are giving that shares available for the short sellers to do what it needs to do in terms of betting that the stock is going to go down. But now that we have a dividend that is about to get paid, those lenders need to claim those shares and make them available in order to get paid, right? So it's going to create a quick force recall of those shares. And because they don't need to give any notice, any heads up, all right, in advance of recalling those shares, is going to be instantaneous. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen next week. It can happen next month. It can happen literally the day before the dividend actually being paid. So it can happen anytime from now. Well, the good news is, because we have a lot more fake shares than the real shares, the shorts owning the fake shares, especially in a stock like GMC and AMC, will mean that pretty much we have millions of shares that will be returning to the owners. In other words, huge buying pressure coming. So whatever you know in terms of gamma squeeze, whatever you know in terms of FOMO, whatever you know in terms of everything we've seen back in June 2021 at the peak of the squeeze in those two stocks is going to be just the exact same thing, even very more powerful now. So I'm very excited about that, but we have to manage expectations, because whenever it comes to the rules, whenever it comes to the SEC doing X and Y, whether it comes to the market conditions, etc., we pretty much everything that was supposed to end all of these manipulation in these two stocks have not done what we're supposed to do. Why? Because the people manipulating are always trying to find a way. So I'm not quite sure if anything can prevent them from, making that same trick that this time around. But I'm not saying it won't happen, right? I'm just managing my expectations, because I've been here numerous times where the stock was supposed to end up, 25% and it ends up in the red 2%. Doesn't make sense, but this is just the reality. So yeah, nonetheless, very excited about this news. So let's just sit out and see how it plays out. I'll see you next one, folks. Peace.